Welcome back. All right, career video, and yes, THG Hall of Fame inductee. I'm also going to induct his brother because I haven't done a video on either of the Hatcher brothers, which seems borderline criminal. Number 17 pick in 1984, Kevin Hatcher. This is a Kevin Hatcher jersey. Remember when I got this, I thought, oh yeah, I should do a Kevin Hatcher video. Had the jersey a while. Anyways, he stood 6'4", 232 pounds, and he was a hulking defenseman. We often have the debate of, which players from previous generations could last now. Kevin Hatcher absolutely could have. He was a good skater, good shooter. He could hit, he could fight, a little bit of everything. So 84-85, he makes his debut. 2 games, 1 goal. Then he also played a game in the playoffs as well. You'll notice there's an extra column because I'm tracking penalty minutes with this one. Yeah, because he did have his share of penalty minutes. Tough player, and I thought that warranted some discussion as well. So after the cup of coffee he had in 84-85, he makes his full-time debut in 85-86. 79 games, 9 goals, 10 assists, 19 points, 119 penalty minutes for Hatcher. In the playoffs, 9 games, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. Kevin Hatcher was part of a very strong blue line, and he was paired with Rod Langway. So this is that ultimate. Langway, good defensive defenseman. Langway, excellent offensive defenseman who wasn't bad defensively at times. But yeah, having Langway there with him made a lot of sense. 86-87, 78 games, 8 goals, 16 assists, 24 points, 144 penalty minutes. In the playoffs, he scores 1 goal in 7 games. So we haven't seen the offense yet, but the offense that he has shown to this point is okay, right? But the offense he's going to show, it starts to reveal itself the following season. 87-88, plays 71 games, 14 goals, 27 assists, 41 points, and 137 penalty minutes. And in the playoffs, 14 games, 5 goals, 7 assists, 12 points. So, yeah, 14 goals, 137 penalty minutes, and almost a point per game in the playoffs. There you go, and you wonder how he ends up being captain. 88-89, he plays 72 games with the Caps that year, 13 goals, 27 assists, 40 points, 101 penalty minutes that year. In the playoffs, 6 games, 1 goal, 4 assists, 5 points. So very, very predictable scoring, 13 goals the year after 14, and he would score 13 the following season as well, 89-90. But now his points are really jumping too. So 80 games played in 89-90, 13 goals, 41 assists, 54 points, 102 penalty minutes. So only 1 more penalty minute, though he had 18 more games played. So this is where we see those penalty minutes start to drop. He becomes more important and doesn't want to be taking penalties, right? So in the playoffs, he adds 8 assists in 11 games, and that also marked the first time in his career he made an appearance in the All-Star game. 90-91. One of his career years, and honestly, there's 2 years you could qualify as his best. This is one of them. 79 games, 24 goals, excellent for a defenseman, 50 assists, 74 points, 69 penalty minutes. In the playoffs, 11 games, 3 goals, 3 assists, 6 points. And he gets some notice because that's what happens when defensemen start scoring points. He's 6th in Norris voting, and he played in the All-Star game that year. So how does he follow that up? Well, 91-92, 79 games, 17 goals, 37 assists, 54 points. So that's 41 goals over a 2-year period. 69 penalty minutes that year, or 105 penalty minutes that year, I should say, sorry. And in the playoffs, 2 goals, 4 assists for 6 points in 7 games. He was 7th in Norris voting and played in the All-Star game again. So really, he has become a star at this point, and he leans into it. 92-93 is his best year. 83 games played. Yes, there was an 84-game season that year. 34 goals, which is a career high. And it was hot. It was the high amongst defensemen that year in the National Hockey League. 45 assists, 79 points. Just fantastic numbers. 114 penalty minutes as well. So that's more than a game in the penalty box. He still gets 34 goals for 79 points. In the playoffs, he adds 1 assist in 6 games. So the one thing missing from Hatcher's career is a run to the final, a Stanley Cup. It's the one thing that's missing there. But he was 4th in Norris voting in 92-93. So he was never a finalist for the Norris. That's as close as he gets there. But yeah, excellent defenseman for his time. 93-94, 72 games played in what would be his final year with the Capitals. 16 goals, 24 assists, 40 points. So the offense dropped off quite a bit that year. 108 penalty minutes, and in the playoffs, 3 goals, 4 assists for 7 points in 11 games. So that would round out his career with the Washington Capitals. January 18th of 1995, so this was during a lockout, he ends up being traded for Rick Morozic as well as Mark Tenorti. This Dallas fan, kind of upset at the time. I was excited to see the Hatcher brothers playing together. I was sad to see Tenorti traded by the Dallas Stars. And I've already done a video on Tenorti before. Again, I'm surprised I haven't done one on Derian Hatcher just because he was one of my favorite defensemen for Dallas at the time. So his first year in Dallas, 94-95, 47 games, 10 goals, 19 assists, 29 points, and 66 penalty minutes. Remember, that's a lockout shortened season. 5 games in the playoffs, 2 goals, 1 assist, 3 points. 95-96, plays 74 games for Dallas, 15 goals, 26 assists, 41 points, 58 penalty minutes. So the penalty minutes have come down now. He played in the All-Star game that year as well. And then that summer, again, it's another trade that I had mixed feelings on. He's traded. And I thought, well, Derian and his brother didn't play together that long. So he's traded in exchange for Sergei Zubov coming over from Pittsburgh. Well, of course, Zubov had a pretty good run with the Dallas Stars. But again, Kevin Hatcher being traded to Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh looking for a little more, toughness on their blue line. Zubov, not considered one of the tougher players, but his offense was fantastic. At any rate, Hatcher joins Pittsburgh from Dallas. Does pretty well that first year. 80 games, 15 goals, 39 assists, 54 points. So his highest point total since 92-93. 103 penalty minutes, so the penalty minutes come back up. 5 games in the playoffs, 1 goal, 1 assist, 2 points. He also played in the All-Star game that year for the Pittsburgh Penguins. So he was an All-Star for Washington, Dallas, and Pittsburgh. So that's kind of fun. 97-98, plays 74 games, 19 goals, 29 assists, 48 points. So it is remarkable how long he'd been in the league, and he's still putting up the goals. 66 penalty minutes that year, just the 1 goal in 6 games in the playoffs. So he's in Pittsburgh in a time between the Cups won by the Lemieux era, and then, of course, much later, we'd see the Cups won in the Crosby era. 98-99, what would prove to be his final year in Pittsburgh. 66 games, 11 goals, 27 assists, 38 points, 24 penalty minutes. So nowhere near the amount of penalty minutes. His goal scoring has dropped off a bit. In the playoffs, he adds 2 goals, 3 assists for 5 points in 13 games. He ends up being traded. So September 30th, so right before we get into the following season, he's traded to the Rangers for Peter Popovich, which makes sense because, I mean, if you're a well-paid veteran player, you go to New York. So he plays in New York 1 year, 74 games in 1999-2000, 4 goals, 19 assists, 23 points. So that's the first year he's fallen below 10 goals in a season since 86-87. That is a remarkable run of 10-plus goals in seasons. 38 penalty minutes that year as well. So that rounds out his contract. And as a free agent, on July 31st, he signs with the Carolina Hurricanes. Yep. 57 games played in Carolina, 4 goals, 14 assists, 18 points. Again, 38 penalty minutes. He did not record a point in the 6 games in the playoffs. And that would finish out his career. He ends up playing 1,157 games, 227 goals, 450 assists exactly, 677 points, 1,392 penalty minutes in his career. And in the playoffs, he adds 118 games, 22 goals, 37 assists, 59 points. So really, overall, a great career, great defenseman, who at times could appear like a forward on the ice, right? But he was a tough forward as well. He was inducted into the U.S. Hockey Hall of Fame in 2010. I don't think he makes the NHL Hall of Fame. He never won a Norris Trophy. He ends up having very good numbers. He was a tough defenseman. Again, I put the guys into my Hall of Fame knowing they're not going to get into the NHL Hall of, or the Hockey Hall of Fame. I almost said NHL. Yeah, it's not the NHL Hall of Fame. It's the Hockey Hall of Fame. 1996, he wins gold at the World Cup. And 1991, he was a runner-up at the Canada Cup for Team USA. So at a time where Americans are starting to become more prominent in hockey, Hatcher and his brother Derian, absolutely part of that. But Kevin Hatcher was, he was special. He was a fantastic defenseman. And I did regret that he didn't stay longer in Dallas, but I couldn't regret that trade for Zubov. At any rate, there you go. Let me know your thoughts in the comments section below, as always. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.